A store clerk warned me my card might decline and snorted when I said I wanted to buy their luxury bag. Her jaw dropped when I checked out. Last Saturday, I went to a luxury bag store downtown because my best friend Yolanda was turning 40 next week. She had been obsessing over one specific bag from this store for almost 2 full years. The bag cost $2,800. I walked in wearing a faded gray t-shirt, old jeans with a small rip near the left knee, and white sneakers that had seen much better days. My hair was in a messy bun from working all morning. No makeup. I looked exactly like someone who had just spent 3 hours doing inventory at a warehouse, which is precisely what I had been doing before coming to the store. The first clerk spotted me the second I walked through the door. Her name tag said Noelle. She looked me up and down slowly from my worn sneakers all the way to my messy bun, and her entire expression changed into something I recognized immediately. She walked toward me with a smile that wasn't really a smile. She asked if I was looking for something specific. I said yes, and told her I wanted to see the leather bags in the display case near the back wall. She tilted her head and said those particular bags started at $2,000 and went up significantly from there. She said it like she was warning me about something I clearly couldn't handle. I said that was fine with me. She didn't move toward the display case. She pointed toward a small table near the front door and said the store had a lovely little selection of accessories and compact wallets starting at just $150. I told her again that I wanted to see the bags in the back. She sighed quietly through her nose, but not quietly enough for me to miss it. She said those bags required a certain level of financial investment, and she just wanted to make sure I understood the price points before I got my hopes up. She said she had seen too many people get embarrassed at the register when their cards declined, and she was only trying to save me from that experience. She lowered her voice like she was doing me a favor. She said the store also had a clearance rack in the side room if I wanted to see something more in my range. She didn't say what my range was. She didn't have to. 2 other women were browsing near the back wall. Both were dressed in long coats and heels. Noelle had greeted both of them with a bright smile and a quick compliment on their earrings when they walked in. I had watched her do it through the window before I even entered the store. Not one card warning, not one redirect to the clearance rack. That's when the second clerk walked over. Her name tag said Dorothy. She was older than Noelle by at least 20 years with a calm face and a warm, genuine smile. She asked politely if I needed help. I told her I wanted to see the leather bags in the back display case. She said of course and walked me straight there without a single comment. Noelle followed behind us with her arms tightly crossed, watching every step. Dorothy unlocked the glass case and showed me the bags one by one with real knowledge and patience. She explained the leather quality and the craftsmanship without any rushing or judgment in her voice. I pointed to the exact bag Yolanda had been dreaming about for 2 years. $2,800 in dark brown leather with gold hardware. Dorothy pulled it out and placed it on the velvet counter. I told her I wanted that one for certain. Noelle made a quiet little snort behind us that she probably thought I couldn't hear. Dorothy ignored her completely. I picked a black one for myself at $3,200. I picked a burgundy one for my operations manager Frida, who had been running my company smoothly for 8 straight years without ever asking for anything. That one was $2,600. I picked a navy blue one for my office coordinator B, who had been with me since the very first year. $1,900. Then I asked Dorothy if the store carried anything special in the back that wasn't on display. She took me through a door to a private room behind the main floor. Inside were bags priced between $5,000 and $8,000 each. I picked out 2 more. One for my aunt who raised me after my mother passed away when I was young. One more for myself because I liked the color and I worked hard enough in my life to own 2 nice bags if I wanted to. I also grabbed 3 leather wallets from the accessories table Noelle had tried to redirect me toward. I bought them as appreciation gifts for 3 senior employees. 9 items total. The final bill came to just under $27,000. Dorothy processed every item professionally without surprise or commentary. She wrapped each bag in tissue paper and placed them into dust bags, and then into the store's signature shopping bags. Noelle stood near the register watching the entire transaction in silence. She approached me quickly as I walked toward the exit carrying 5 heavy shopping bags. She asked if I needed any help carrying everything to my car. She said she would be so happy to assist. I looked at her directly. No thank you, I said. I don't need help from someone who spent the last 30 minutes hoping I'd leave. Her fake smile just hung there for a second and then fell apart. She stammered that she was just doing her job, that the store had a policy about informing customers of pricing. I said, there's no policy that tells you to snort when a customer picks out a bag. That was all you. She tried a different angle. She forced a short little laugh that sounded as fake as her smile had been. She said there must have been a misunderstanding, that she treated every customer the same way. I shook my head slowly. You pointed me to the wallets by the front door. You told me my card might decline. Dorothy walked me straight to the display case without a single comment about my outfit or my budget. That's not the same treatment, Noelle. I said her name at the end on purpose. She went completely quiet. I turned to Dorothy, who had been standing a few feet behind the counter with her hands folded. I set my shopping bags down on the counter because what was inside them mattered too much to just drop. You made this entire experience what it was today, I told her. You treated me like I mattered, and I am not going to forget that. Her eyes got glassy. I just did my job, sweetheart, she said softly. No, I said. You did more than your job. You were kind to a stranger without knowing anything about her. I reached into one of the shopping bags and pulled out one of the leather wallets I had bought from the accessories table. I held it out to her. This is for you. Not because of the commission, because you were kind when you didn't have to be. She shook her head gently. Oh no, honey, I can't accept that. I pushed it toward her. Please take it. You earned this. She held it against her chest with both hands. Thank you, she said, and her voice cracked. I picked up my bags and turned toward the door. Then I heard it. Noelle was standing about 6 feet away. She said it under her breath, but loud enough. Must be nice to throw money around to prove a point. I stopped. I turned back. The warmth on my face from a second ago was completely gone. I walked right back toward her and set every single one of those shopping bags down on the floor carefully, one at a time. I straightened up. You think I'm throwing money around? Let me tell you about these bags. I picked up the first shopping bag, the dark brown one. This is for my best friend Yolanda. She is turning 40 next week. She has been showing me pictures of this exact bag on her phone for almost 2 full years. Last year, my aunt had surgery. Yolanda showed up at that hospital waiting room at 7 in the morning, and she did not leave until 6 that night. 11 hours. She didn't complain. So no, this is not me throwing money around. around. This is the least I can do for a woman like that. I set it down and picked up the burgundy bag. This is for Frida. She has kept my company running for 8 years. She has never once asked for a raise. 2 years ago, I took 2 months off because of a personal loss that nearly broke me in half. Frida walked into that building every single day for 2 months, and she ran everything. When I came back, she didn't ask for thanks. She just handed me a clean report and went back to work. I set it down and picked up the navy blue bag. This is for B. She has been with me since year 1, before I had a real office. She sat at a folding table in a room the size of a closet and answered phones for me. She brought her own space heater because the landlord wouldn't fix the radiator. She ate cold sandwiches at that folding table for an entire winter. She believed in what I was building before a single other person on this planet did. This is the first time I've ever been able to hand her something and say I remember. The store was quiet. Noelle's expression had changed completely. The smugness was gone. The fake smile was gone. Every one of these bags has a name attached to it and a reason behind it, I said. Quieter now. People who showed up for me when they didn't have to. Not one of these purchases is about proving anything to you. I picked up my bags and walked out without another word. I sat in my car and just let the weight of the afternoon come down. What got to me wasn't Noelle. Noelle was small. It was my mom, Maeve. She used to kneel down when I was little and hold my face in both hands and say, "How you treat people when you don't have to be kind tells the world exactly who you are." She died when I was young. My Aunt Kennedy stepped in without a second of hesitation. She was 34 years old and had never planned on raising a child. She worked 2 jobs for years just to keep food on the table. One at a dental office during the day and one cleaning a small law firm 3 nights a week. She wore the same winter coat with a broken zipper for 6 straight seasons. She never bought herself anything nice because every dollar went toward making sure I had what I needed. She went to every parent-teacher conference. She sat in the front row at every school recital. She clapped the loudest every single time, even when I forgot my lines. When I was 12, I got pneumonia and missed almost 3 weeks of school. Kennedy called out of her day job for a full week and sat by my bed reading library books out loud until her voice went hoarse. When I turned 16, she handed me the keys to a used car she had been saving for quietly for over a year. When I tried to thank her, she would wave her hand and say, "That's not sacrifice, that's family." I built my company from nothing, 12 years of work. I made a quiet promise to myself that when I could afford it, I was going to take care of every single person who helped me get there. The next morning was Sunday. I laid out everything on my dining table and wrapped each bag. I wrote a note for each person. Yolanda's, "Happy 40th to the friend who never let me face anything alone." Frida's, "8 years of trust. Thank you for never making me ask." B's, "You believed when no one else did. I never forgot." Kennedy's took 3 tries. I finally wrote, "You gave me everything. This is just a bag. But it comes with all the love I couldn't say when I was young." I pulled into Kennedy's driveway a little after 8. She opened the door in a bathrobe with reading glasses pushed up on her head. "What are you doing here this early on a Sunday? Is everything okay?" I held up the bag. "Everything's fine. I just have something for you." By the time I got to the table, she was already filling the kettle because that was what Kennedy always did. She didn't even ask if I wanted tea. She just made it. I placed the wrapped bag on the table between us. She poured the hot water, dropped a tea bag in each mug, set mine in front of me, and sat down. She looked at the wrapped box with her eyes narrowed the way they always did when she thought something was going on. "What is this?" "My birthday isn't for 3 months. It's not for your birthday. It's for every day you showed up for me after Mom died. Open it." She never tore wrapping paper. Not once in my entire life had I seen that woman rip into a gift. She found the edge of the tape with her fingernail and peeled it up carefully. She lifted the top of the box and pushed aside the first layer of tissue paper. She pulled the bag out and went completely still. Her hands stopped moving. She held it in front of her and just looked at it. The leather caught the light from the window. She ran her fingers along the stitching on the front panel. She touched the gold clasp and turned it slightly like she was making sure it was real. Then she saw the card. She pulled it out and opened it. She read it silently. I watched her lips move with the words. She got to the end and her lips stopped moving, but her eyes stayed on the card. She pressed the card flat against the table with her palm and held it there. Her fingers spread across the paper like she was trying to absorb the words through her skin. She sat like that for almost a full minute. I didn't say anything. The room was so quiet I could hear both of us breathing and the kettle making a soft clicking sound as it cooled down. Then she raised her eyes. "Your mother would have done the exact same thing." That was the sentence that broke me. I had held it together through the store, through Noelle, through the parking lot, through wrapping everything at my dining table at dawn. But hearing my aunt sit there in her bathrobe at 8 in the morning with tears sitting in her eyes and tell me that, I could not hold it together anymore. My chin crumpled and my eyes burned and I pressed my hand over my mouth, but it didn't help. Kennedy was already on her feet. She came around the side of the table and pulled me into a hug so tight I could feel her heartbeat against my shoulder. "You didn't have to do this." I pressed my face into her shoulder. "I know I didn't. That's the whole point." She held me there long enough for the tea to start getting cold. Then she pulled back and held me at arm's length with both hands on my shoulders. "You turned out better than any of us could have hoped for." Maeve would be so proud she wouldn't know what to do with herself. I cried openly in that room on a Sunday morning in a way I hadn't cried in months. Kennedy cried too. We both stood there and cried together like 2 people who had been carrying something heavy for a very long time and finally set it down at the same moment. After a while, she wiped her face with the sleeve of her bathrobe and walked back to her side of the table. She picked up the bag carefully and placed it back inside the tissue paper. "I'm going to keep this in the box forever and just look at it." I laughed. It came out wet and shaky, but it was real. "You're going to use that bag, Kennedy. I didn't buy it for your closet shelf." She shook her head firmly. "It's too nice. I'll ruin it." "Kennedy, you are going to carry that bag." She looked at the box and then at me, and her face slowly broke into a smile. "Fine, but I'm only bringing it out for special occasions." Yolanda's birthday dinner was that evening. I got there 45 minutes early and handed the bag to the server. "Can you hold this and bring it out after the main course?" Yolanda walked into that restaurant like the whole room got brighter. She was wearing her favorite dress, the deep green one she always said made her feel like $1 million. Someone shouted happy birthday, and she threw her hands up and did a little spin, and everyone clapped. Dinner was warm and loud and messy in the best possible way. Halfway through, right after the plates from the main course started getting cleared, Yolanda got quiet. She picked up her glass, and the table slowly went silent. This last year was rough, really rough. There were days I didn't think I was going to make it to this birthday feeling feeling like myself, but the people at this table are the reason I'm sitting here smiling tonight. You called me when I didn't call you back. You checked on me when I told you I was fine and you knew I wasn't. Then she turned her head and looked directly at me. Especially you. You've been my person for 15 years and I don't say it enough. You have been the one constant in my life that never moved and never changed and never let me fall without catching me. My eyes started to sting and I had to press my tongue against the roof of my mouth and breathe in slowly through my nose. I mouthed, "I love you" back and excused myself. The server had the bag ready like she had been watching the whole thing. I walked back through the restaurant and set the bag down on the table in front of Yolanda without a word. She looked at the bag, then at me, then at the bag. I watched the exact moment it registered. Her whole face changed. Her mouth fell open and her eyes went so wide I could see the reflection of the overhead light in them. No, you didn't. Open it. The second her fingers touched the dark brown leather, the second she saw the gold hardware catch the light from the candles, she froze. She covered her mouth with both hands. Then she started crying, full open tears rolling down both cheeks. She pulled the bag out and held it against her chest with both arms wrapped around it. She pressed her face against the leather. "I showed you this bag so many times. I never thought. I never expected." She couldn't finish. She pushed her chair back and had her arms around me before I could stand. The whole table was watching. Nobody was talking. Half of them were crying too. She whispered in my ear, "You are the best friend anyone could ever have." Then she sat back down and wiped her face with both hands and laughed at herself about her ruined makeup, and everyone at the table laughed with her. Then something shifted on her face. It got serious. "I have to tell you something. I was at that same store 2 weeks ago. I went in to look at this exact bag. The clerk, this younger woman, came up to me right away. She told me the bag wasn't worth the price. She said I should look at more affordable options. She said it in this way that made me feel like I had no business even being in that store. She made me feel so small I walked out without buying anything. I didn't even argue. I just left. I already knew the answer before I asked. Was her name Noelle? Yolanda squinted. Yeah, how did you know that? I didn't answer right away. I just sat there thinking about the fact that 2 weeks before I walked into that store, Noelle had looked at Yolanda the same way she looked at me. My best friend had walked out of that place feeling small during her own birthday month and said nothing about it until now because that was who Yolanda was. She absorbed things. She swallowed them. She didn't complain. She showed up for everyone around her, and when something hurt her, she just got quieter. I sat there at that dinner table and remembered that 2 weeks earlier she had texted me and said she was rethinking the bag, that maybe it wasn't the right one after all. She said maybe she'd look at something else. I had taken it at face value. I hadn't asked. I should have asked. She hadn't changed her mind about the bag. A woman in a store had taken her dream away from her with one sentence, and she had been too polite and too tired to fight for it. Monday morning, I was at the office before 7. I called everyone into the conference room at 8:30. I placed 3 leather wallets on the table in front of Jeff, Reagan, and Barnabas. These are for 3 people who have shown up for this company every single day without needing to be asked. Jeff picked his up slowly and turned it over in his hands. He had been my warehouse lead for 6 years. He ran the floor like it was his own family business. He stayed late every time a shipment got delayed, and he never once put in for overtime. He looked at the wallet and then at me, and his eyes got a little red. Nobody's ever done anything like this for me at a job. Thank you. Reagan pressed her hand flat on top of hers. She had managed our customer service line for 4 years, and she knew every regular client by the tone of their voice before they even said their name. Thank you. Seriously, I don't know what to say. Barnabas nodded slowly. He was the quietest man I had ever employed, and also the most reliable. He had never missed a single day in 5 years. This means more than you know. Afterward, I pulled B into my office and handed her the navy blue bag. This is for you. She held it in front of her and her chin started to tremble. She set the bag down on my desk and pressed both hands flat on either side of it like she needed to steady herself. I didn't stay because of a paycheck. I stayed because you were worth betting on. I walked down to the operations room and set the burgundy bag right on top of the schedule Frida was writing on. She looked up. Her pen stopped mid-sentence. What did I do? 8 years. You ran everything while I couldn't. This is 8 years of thank you in one bag. She sat down slowly. She touched the edge of the bag with 2 fingers like it might move if she pressed too hard. She wasn't a crier. In 8 years, I had never seen her cry, but she was close now. She pressed her lips together and looked at the bag and then looked at me. Thank you. I mean it. That afternoon, I wrote a short letter to the store's management about Dorothy. Just about Dorothy. I said her warmth and patience were the only reason I completed a transaction that day. I said she represented everything the store's brand should stand for. I didn't mention Noelle once. 2 weeks later, the regional manager called to tell me Dorothy had been promoted. I closed my eyes and pressed my hand flat against the desk. After we hung up, I sat in the quiet of my office. I sent Yolanda a text. Happy birthday week. You deserved every bit of it. A minute later, she sent back a photo of the dark brown bag sitting on her dresser next to a framed picture. A single heart emoji, nothing else. I closed my laptop, grabbed my keys, and drove home. When I got to my car, I looked at the back seat. My 2 bags, still in their dust bags, still wrapped in tissue paper. I hadn't opened them yet. I hadn't even taken them out of the car. I looked at them and I just laughed. That was me. That had always been me.